All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to Tribe of TOIAM at Gather. The Tribe of TOIAM has been happening for a few years as mostly a dinner that's been once a month, and this is the third Tribe of TOIAM at Gather, which is also open to the public, so there's flyers around town and things like that. But the dinner that's been happening is invitation only. If you are here, you have an invitation to the next dinner. It is typically every first Thursday of the month. We did it on the second Thursday this month because I was preparing for a workshop on the first weekend of the month, and it'll be on the second Thursday of next month because the first Thursday is January 1st. So I just felt like maybe we needed a week later. So January the 8th will be the next dinner. It is at the Alaska Center from 6 to 7:30. It's a potluck. And as you can see, the Tribe of TOIAM is a courageous community beyond gender, religion, and borders, stronger and healthier together. We've had some really fascinating conversations over a few years. Each conversation has been really. How would you describe it, Bobby, in a word or two? How the conversations have been?
One word or two is kind of unfairly handicapping me, but I would say it's very interesting deep dives filled with lots of perspectives. And the thing that I like about it is very often somebody will say something and I'm like, wow, I've never looked at it that way. And then so you get to kind of play with that and maybe see some blind spots.
I like it. Do you have anything to say or add to that, Karen?
The word that came to mind when you said one or two words was enlightening, which I think just adds to everything that Bobby said. It's
Awesome.
Enlightening about self. It's enlightening about perspective.
Awesome.
Yeah, because the topic is so open
Mm-hmm.
to be interpreted.
I'll have to put you on the spot, Leroy, but would you like to say anything about your experience with the tribe? No pressure. You don't have to.
The same old Leroy. Nothing profound. Still learning. They're trying to figure out. I'm how to determine what it is I'm trying to figure out sometime in life. So,
Sure.
In the meantime, I'm okay.
That was good.
A gathering for those willing to acknowledge our impact on the world and take responsibility for how to move it forward. Can we have the next slide? This paragraph here, we've been conditioned to think of our differences as reasons for division rather than focusing on the human family and the values we share. If you're open to seeing the unity and beauty in our diversity and our imperfection, this tribe is for you. Next slide, please. Okay, so we like to create a safe space for Christian conversations grounded with healing sound, frequency, and music. Everything that you will hear tonight and everything that you have heard me record is in a very specific tuning and frequency that's meant to be very grounding. So that's an essential thing to know. Motivational and inspirational messages, collaborative and open-hearted community for healing and growth. And what I'm finding in my experience with go back 2 slides, please. The next one, yeah. What I'm finding here with the collaboration and the open-hearted community is just having a conversation is such a valuable piece to seeing things change. And things means, when I say things change, I'm meaning starting with myself. It's having a conversation with you all that helps me perceive things from a different perspective. So the open-hearted piece is like the curiosity that says, what is this person's experience and how does it inform how does it bring more information into my world and into my experience? And also what I'm finding is that when we create this safe space, it's so much easier to do than we realize. And when we do that, we can talk about anything at all that maybe everyone outside of this space is not ready to have the conversation because it's instant red flags and discomfort and no one's willing to listen to the other. And so they can't have a conversation. But TOIAM is doing a really excellent job of just creating a safe space. The workshop that we had at the 2 weeks ago, the wisdom workshop, we really hit on some kind of intense emotional things as far as masculine and feminine dynamics and what all of that's about. And I was really happy to see how easy it was for us to have the conversation and how much healing was occurring in the space. Linda, you have anything to say about the workshop? No pressure? What is this? Oh, it says impossible. Okay. I'm possible.
I am possible.
It's within.
It's the same spelling, but with a totally different. And this came to me this week. I know it was for tonight.
Ooh, I like it. I like it.
Impossible is I am possible.
Wow. Okay, next slide, please. Values, love, humility, which has to do with mutual respect, vulnerability, having open-heartedness, to share and to listen is a vulnerable thing. Integrity, being able to integrate the information, integrate the knowledge, courageous communication, saying the thing that might feel uncomfortable. Number 6, diversity, which I'm happy to see in the group here tonight, as well as on the leadership team. Diversity, very important. Emotional intelligence. Love I define as, there are many ways to define love, but I'm thinking from an ancient language standpoint, and even from that ancient language standpoint, there are many ways that it could be said in English. Love is, it could be called sacred unity, is a way of saying love. It is being able to look at the other and see yourself. That means when I look at you, do I understand that I'm seeing I amness, and that is my instant connection to you? And do I understand that there is something really beautiful about the number of stories that are in this space? And which is why, again, if I have the vulnerability to hear you, I see how much larger even it brings expansion to my own experience. That's the nature of love. Okay, next slide, please. So when you see this slide, the voice of the tribe is a chance for everyone to share your thoughts if you would like. Remember our values that we just left. And the next slide will show us, just it's a green slide that says being. It's just an opportunity to be still, to be quiet. We usually do it for 60 seconds to 2 minutes. And tonight I'm going to start with a song called I Propose a Toast, written by John Foreman. So that's where we'll begin. And are there any thoughts about anything so far before I start the song? This is meant to be very experiential and interpretive. The songs kind of help just weave us through a conversation and give us some context and obviously the frequency of the sound that might be grounding. There are some philosophical things in the music to just help us think through. What is the writer saying? How does this speak to me? What does this mean for community? All right, next slide, I believe, should say I propose a toast. Oh no, hold on. So today's message is be still and know, rest and pure potential. So we must go through to emerge anew. has been the theme for the last 3 months, actually. So, and now I think I propose a toast. Next one. There it is. Here's to all the roads that brought us here, the shadows we're afraid of, the stories that we're made of. Here's to all the storms along the way, the bridges I'm still burning, lessons I'm still learning, the moments slow, but I can hold it while it goes. So I propose a toast. Here's to every failure try. Here's to friends the cash can't buy. Bonds that won't be severed. Here's to love and here's to life. Here's to fighting side by side. And here's to us together, you and you and remember this when you feel all alone, stuck inside the moment, trying to disown it. You don't need to pretend to be a master, but won't show up we're all made of. What are we afraid of? 'Cause we all get low. But right now the life is so close. I propose a toast. Here's to every failure try. Here's to friends that cash can't buy. The bonds that won't be severed. Here's to life and here's to life. Here's to fighting side by side. Here's to us together, you and I. You and
Did you write that song?
No, that was written by John Foreman, and it's definitely one of my favorites lately. Next slide, please. What stood out to you in the song? What spoke to you? Not everyone has to speak if you don't want to, and we'll give it approximately 5 minutes to get through the voice of the tribe, unless I'll just leave it at that, Dr. Seuss style.
Can we see the lyrics again?
Yeah. You want to see the chorus or verse 1, verse 2? All of it.
One line about the things that money can't buy. That reminded me of a retreat I was on once, and it was not going well, but everybody was like really in touch with what mattered to them most. And we kind of like midway through it sort of shifted gears. And at the end of it, somebody said, I think what we've discovered this weekend is the things that we value most are things that cannot be bought.
Mm.
And that was like 12 years ago. And that, I mean, just that line brought that memory back. like, whoosh,
Mm,
here it is.
that's awesome. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah, where is that? Oh, to friends that cash can't buy. Which, yeah.
Yeah, this was more like, you know, family and joy and fulfillment and contribution, you know, all of those things that we really want the most.
Right. Any other thoughts?
The song goes really well with the theme. You go back to that slide that shared the theme. Be still and know rest and we must go through to emerge anew. It reminds me that this is the year of the snake. There's been a lot of things that have been talked about that like the shedding, all the stuff that is preparing us for going into the new year. And the song kind of reminds me of that it's a constant willingness to learn about ourselves, that we've never fully arrived, that we're doing everything is for our highest good, to have us be where we need to be as long as we're willing to stay open to change.
Yes, yes, yes. Hi, welcome.
Sorry, I thought it was at 7. Oh, sorry.
Ooh, that was good, Karen. Thank you. Yeah. Going through to emerge anew. Any other thoughts?
Can you go to the third page? So the mask line really stood out for me because that's just been a really major theme. I told you when I met you about how my brother recently passed, and when he did, it really just shattered that mask and made me see very clearly how, you know, I had masked myself throughout my whole entire life. And now I can just see that, like, X-ray vision in the world. And that's like what I see so heavily now is just the superficiality and like just the mask and the ego and like, you know, the front and the facade that everybody wants to, like, you know, like we're all supposed to be so perfect and so like high vibe or like, you know, just successful or whatever, you know. And a lot of it is so ego driven. And so for like now it's just, yeah, just seeing that so clearly, and it's just very upsetting and enraging, like infuriating, and like that line, you know, the bridges I'm still burning. Like there's just so much, like I just want to set fire to all of that and just be real, unafraid, not, you know, be afraid to show my vulnerabilities or my weaknesses or things that other people might be like, oh, like, you know, that's not something you'd want to put on Instagram, you know. Like, just being proud of all the non-highlight reels. And, like, that's just my whole thing right now. It's just, like, defying all of the masks and just, like, trying to be as real and, like, down to the I am, you know, like, bringing it back to who we really are, what's really important, and just, like, you know, in such a way to where it makes all the fakeness so evident and like noticeable and like obvious, you know, like because when you have an authentic person standing in front of somebody who's just all like facade, that person who's all facade is going to feel their facade in front of the authentic person. That's all they're going to see is like that, you know. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Just like being, like suddenly I just don't like feel all the feelings that I felt before that came with, that mask and the ego and, being embarrassed about like, just not measuring up to like this societal expectations and yeah. Kind of lost my train of thought there, but so yeah. Cool.
Wow.
But yeah, what are we all made of? What are we afraid of? Like that, just so I'm thinking what I'm going through right now. You're the snake. Just shed all of that.
What is you used the word infuriating, maybe, and there was
Enraging.
Enraging, okay. How would what's the infuriating thing exactly, or part?
Well, it's because my brother, like my whole family, we grew up like in poverty and being Native. So there was like racism, and we agreed with all of that. Subconsciously we're like, oh man, we don't measure up to what we're supposed to, like what the world calls beautiful or successful or good, And my brother suffered, and he got schizophrenia when he was 17, and if he would have known the truth, of who he really is, who we all really are underneath this mask, and how, like, we're perfect. We're made exactly how we were supposed to be made. Like, he wouldn't have felt that shortcoming. It wouldn't have made him suffer. And there's so many people who are suffering now in the face of this huge ego of the world.
Yeah.
And feeling like they don't fit in. There's all these people who pass and they, don't feel that. But then there's people on, the corner of the street who have been totally spit out and unaccepted and blamed. And, like, my brother was able to see them for who they were, and they were able to see him as a person, not just, a problem. So I'm very angry that people have to live life like that. And, like, I don't want to do anything to perpetuate that. I want to just tear that all down and just, like, get back to, our perfection. We're already perfect. There's nothing to measure up to. There's nothing to add to, ourselves to measure up to this crazy image that we have. It's all just this like fake illusion, and then we make up for, to add to it, and it's adding to this fakeness that, was already this like not real thing. So,
Let's create some space to hold this for a moment, and I would like to ask you if there's anything that you would like to share that has directly to do with what she's talking about. Is anything coming up for anyone here as far as creating the space to hold this?
The thing that came up for me was, you talking about the ego, and to me the ego is the collective parts that are trying to keep us safe from all the woundings and the hurts and the suffering and the traumas we had. And so part of that, seeing that in ourselves and like having compassion for the ego, because it's unconscious, it's trying to do a job, but then we can do that for ourselves, and we can see that the negative ego in other people is also just desperately trying to cover up pain and woundings and traumas, and then it allows, I feel like compassion is the medicine for like helping the ego dissolve. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I just have the space of empathy and understanding because my nephew experienced the same thing, a life gone too soon, a young life gone too soon. And people don't understand schizophrenia because they expect perfection. And so they create something that, is not understood, that it is ego, something that is not understood, that they're fearful of, they want to outcast. Because whatever kind of thing that is hitting each of us, and it's not coming from a place of love, it's coming from someplace else, maybe fear. And so there's lack of healing for that person, and so the mask, I won't speak for my nephew, the mask that he wore was one of trying to fix the pain through things that were outside of himself, like drugs, and then eventually that's brought his death. So yes, and it's sad and painful, and his birthday was just this past week, and so yeah, we're thinking about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's just, are you able to see the slide numbers? We're just looking for the next green or being slide. Let's just have silence for 60 seconds. Okay. Let's take a deep breath. Just try to come back to center while still allowing space to hold everything that has been shared with respect and honor. Okay, let's go to slide 23. It's the one that says Shemaya. Let's see, next one, next. I think, keep going. That one. This word Shemaya, it's an ancient Aramaic word that means the world or universe of vibration, sound, light, and energy. A sacred vibration without limit throughout the entire manifested cosmos. This word is where we get our English word heaven. Shemaya extends from a center that is nowhere and everywhere and vibrates through creation or throughout creation. It is the ground of pure energy, vibrating light and atmosphere, constantly reporting that nothing is separate, everything is one. This is the after meaning of the realm we call heaven, the realm within which anything is possible. So I'm going to go to this next song, and it's titled Heaven is Yours. And we've been conditioned to think of this realm of heaven as some place that is up there in the sky somewhere, or some place that we go. But from an ancient word perspective, in both ancient Hebrew and in ancient Aramaic, the term is something that's happening right here and now that humans can tap into. We are totally wired to tap into heaven, this limitless realm that is nowhere and everywhere. And it allows all things to be possible. It is why the sense of I amness works the way it works. Okay. So. Blessed are the poor in heart, heaven is yours. Blessed are you broken ones who ain't thinking more. Blessed are the meek, the earth is your inheritance. Blessed when you're thirsting for that kind of righteousness. Oh, heaven is yours, heaven is yours, heaven is yours like this, heaven is yours like this. Blessed are the merciful, mercy's bright. Blessed are the pure in heart, with God in your eye. Blessed are the peacemakers, children of light. Blessed when you don't fit in anymore, cause you want to do right, right. Oh, heaven is yours, heaven is yours, heaven is yours like this, heaven is yours like this. Yeah, where your treasure is where your heart goes. Where your measure is shapes your sorrow. Where your pleasure is what you follow. Where your treasure is where your heart goes. What does your heart want? What does your heart want? What does your heart want? Heaven is yours like this. Oh, heaven is yours. Heaven is yours. Heaven is yours like this. Heaven is yours like this. Heaven is yours. Let's go back to verse 1. So this is a song that's played off of the Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are the poor in heart. I forget how it goes. Blessed are the poor in heart. Blessed are the meek, they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who thirst for hunger and thirst for righteousness. And the word for righteousness, again, from an ancient English standpoint, means balance. It means justice. It's not some kind of religious order of righteousness. To be poor in heart is something like the very opposite of the ego. To be poor in heart is to have no blocks to stand on. To have no ego to push forward. So that message essentially is saying to us, with this lowliness of heart and the sorrow that might come with it at times, through this is how we can tap into heaven, the realm of pure possibility.
Is there a line in that? Kingdom of heaven is within you?
Yes, not in the Sermon on the Mount, but it is definitely one of his teachings. Where, yeah,
Somewhere.
yeah. Let's go to the next slide. Heaven is yours. Next slide. Yeah, blessed are the pure in heart with God in your eyes. Oh my. Again, back to the ancient language, to be pure in heart is to recognize God even in your own eyes, is more like what the language says. Being able to look at your own reflection in the mirror and recognize God.
For they shall see God.
Yes, yes. Oh, blessed are the peacemakers. And right around in that message, right around where he says, "Blessed are the peacemakers," right after that he says, "Because you may be persecuted for righteousness' sake." So that's why the songwriter said, "When you don't fit in anymore because you want to do right." And it is totally acceptable that anger is part of this process when the mask comes off, and you just might also become a little pissed off to realize that it's a number of things, right? that we realize. It's like, oh, this huge game has been played, and it's been played on me, projected onto me. I have been a participant, but I didn't know that I was harming myself in my participation. It's like so many elements as to why the anger is appropriate. And then the healing must begin, where we can, again, back to the Sermon on the Mount and what the meaning truly is when Jesus said, "Take up your cross." This is part of the meaning of what the cross is. You bear the cross, which is, this world is full of garbage and baggage, and I must pick it up and move it forward. How will I do that? What can I do to make a difference? I'll stop there to see if anyone has any thoughts. So we're on the Voice of the Tribe slide, the blue one. Yeah. Any thoughts?
Makes me think of the truth will set you free, but first will piss you off. And I've been feeling that anger lately, so it's good to hear this message. Maybe it's okay.
For me, I just want to heal personally and really just dismantle all those false beliefs, like all the way, so that I can, it's where it starts is within, and I won't be able to help if I'm not able to first help myself.
That's so good.
But you don't have to be perfect to help. We're healed. We're perfect.
Mm-hmm. And what about the layers to healing even? Like, you go through some really amazing experiences and you still get knocked down occasionally. You realize there's more to it. Even the thing that you thought was healed, there's a little more to go there sometimes,
Hopefully we spiral around a different level of consciousness. So we may meet the same challenge, but meet it with something new.
Right.
Or
Right.
hopefully, if we're taking out the growth from the challenges. It's a choice.
Yeah, I've been on my healing journey for about 2 years since like my spiritual awakening or whatever. But when my brother died, I just saw the ego behind it all. And so even though I thought I was like making progress spiritually, I saw how much ego was still there.
There's a lot of ego in the spiritual
Oh my God, I know.
world of, from the highest. Like, you look at some of the highest spiritual leaders on this that we've had in like the last 100 years, like who's come down hard, like the head of Kundalini Yoga. What's his name? Vikram. You know, these people get spiritual power and all of a sudden they're easily, very easily corrupted as well. Not that even relates.
And then the knockdown, the tribulation becomes a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Takes you a while to see it, but it usually happens.
I think we're healing from birth. And we get to choose whether we're going to heal or not. There's times that maybe we're in denial or we wear a mask or, and sometimes the mask is there to protect us. Sometimes the mask is, there is an ego. But I think that we've come out and we can choose to heal or not. Because we're all healing from something.
I think the mask, I feel like the ego and the mask are the same thing for me.
Yeah, for me, I've worn a mask of ego and I've worn a mask of protection. And so the mask can be many things. Like when I had a lot of weight on me physically, I had a lot of weight on me emotionally and spiritually too. So it was, and I figured out within this past year that it was a mask of protection because of sexual things that had happened, a whole bunch of things that I was healing. And so it was a different kind of mask. So for me, the mask has been different because masks can all look different. But I've also worn the mask of ego.
Let's go back several slides back to where the message title was. Be still and know. Yeah, right here. Rest in pure potential. This is such a wonderful time of the year. I kind of say that to make fun of it. Because I don't, sometimes it's wonderful and it's also seems kind of busy to be, just it's a busy time. And next slide. So being still at the darkest time of the year, I think there's something to that the culture is flipped upside down. And we're the busiest when maybe we should be laying low a bit and experiencing what's coming up at this, like the darkness, it's inevitable that these things come up when it's dark out, you know. Stillness, silence, quiet, hush, the absence of motion. It's like there is no absence of motion right now, you know, out there in the month of December. Okay, the next slide. So so all this ancient language stuff I talk about is a project that you've heard me talk about called Bible Redefined. So THV and the Tribe of I Am and I Am University is all under it's my calling, okay? So Psalm 46:10, this is how it typically reads, and this is how I've been gifted to translate it. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth. It's a very poor, watered down translation that keeps us stuck in a very twisted Western world notion of what God is and how we relate to that. Okay, so the THV version here says, be still. Discontinue your effort and striving, which tears you from your deep-seated self. Rest from your labors and mend yourself back together again by repeated practice and constant rediscovery. Experience I am, self of yourself, consciousness of your consciousness, heart of your heart, sense of your sense. The identity behind all and every identity is God, the one true self. understand, experience, and perceive. I am is the energy, power, and force behind it all. And everything about this I am thing, with the capital I and the capital A, is most of you have heard me say, it's the thing that we can't get away from saying. I am, or the contraction I am. It's so hardwired into us, we can never escape it, and we still miss it. And having to say that right now does bring up a little bit of anger in me even now to recognize how sinister, I guess, the matrix of our culture is. It has convinced us so well that we are worthless, invaluable. Our worth is always related to something outside of us, and that is not the reality at all. Heaven is about understanding I amness that each person holds. And how could I dare betray you or speak against you or think sideways about you, knowing that there is only one true self. So however I think of you is somehow a reflection of how I think about myself. And whatever I might do to you, I'm somehow also doing it to myself. But the whole world seems to be operating in the illusion that, oh, those people over there, or those folks over there, or, yeah. Is there another slide for this one, maybe? Okay, so the language is so powerful, it's multidimensional, it's so poetic that this is the same verse, but you're going to read it a different way now, because that's how flexible the language is, without diverting from the truth still. Rest, be at ease, relax from your worry, concern, doubt, and striving. Realize, remember, and experience I am, the one and only power. I am has been, is, and will be known as all-powerful among and within the wild parts of the ego self. So back to how the ancient knowledge has always contained internal family systems. It's been saying there are these parts of you that you must understand how to help and deal with. Within the wild parts of the ego self that impose incoherent, incongruent, and dishonorable ways of existing. I am, has been, is, and will be known as all-powerful among and within the realm of particle and form existence, the realm of seeming opposites. So that realm of particle and form existence and seeming opposites is the opposite of Shemaya, right? Heaven versus earth. You see earth here. So earth gets translated as the realm of particle and form, as well as the realm of seeming opposites. So this is part of our journey on earth. We must deal with the dichotomy and the wrestling. It is an awakening, an experience meant for awakening. There is no other way except to wrestle with this. And then we begin to, with the healing, we begin to realize what a fun game it can be. Just to enjoy the dichotomy versus letting the dichotomy cause division. It doesn't have to be that way. Just as much as we can embrace the sun and the moon and let them do their natural thing, I can embrace black and white too, and just let them do their thing. Let them stay in balance and see the seasons move and the beauty in that. Beauty in diversity, unity in diversity. Okay, I'll stop there. Any thoughts about Psalm 46? Let's go back to one of the blue slides. Yes, I'm listening.
I was going to say a quick thing, like there's a Nobel Prize-winning chemist, Leah Pedroni, who in a system that's in chaos, small islands of coherence will introduce coherence into the system. It's when I hear the word rest, like even in our chaotic, busy days, we can introduce small periods of like, I'm going to take 3 conscious breaths.
Yeah.
It,
Mm-hmm.
it impacts our system bigger than we know.
Mm-hmm.
Just tuning into what's here.
Yeah.
What comes up for me is this contrast between the human experience and the spiritual experience. For me, like it feels like 2 really different worlds, and but I've been playing more and more with the idea of this concept of heaven on earth and integrating, just experiencing what it's like to be a spirit in human form and to play with the experience of being in form. And all of that, everything that comes with that, which is a lot of pain, physical pain, emotional pain, and just sort of like the density of this experience of being human on the earth. I'm just trying to appreciate it and see it as rather than wanting things to be different, trying to, see it as like everything is beautiful in its own way, and I believe that I chose to come here and from some spiritual realm and come into this body and have this human experience for a reason, to learn certain lessons, and so that's what that speaks to for me. Is it's just kind of like playing with the experience of being in form.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Thank you.
I like the word play.
Mm-hmm. Let's just go to the next. I think the next slide is being. Yeah, stillness. We're just gonna take just 60 seconds of stillness. Just a moment to settle down. Also a moment just to take notice if anything else comes up for you. Okay.